They didn't just sleep through the cold. They outsmarted it. The wartime problem no sleeping bag could solve alone. World War II pushed armies into environments that modern campers would actively avoid. Eastern Front winters dropped far below freezing. North Africa swung from scorching heat to bone-chilling desert nights. Soldiers slept in forests, rubble, trenches, and open fields, often without tents, without fires, and sometimes without dry ground. Early in the war, militaries assumed thicker sleeping bags were the solution. They issued heavy wool-filled bags, down bags, and layered systems. But even the best bag failed under one simple condition: compression. When insulation gets crushed underneath your body, it stops trapping warm air. And without trapped air, there is no warmth. Here's the part modern campers overlook. World War II soldiers didn't rely on their sleeping bag alone. They treated it as only one piece of a larger thermal system. The real secret was separating insulation from compression. Instead of trusting the underside of the sleeping bag to keep them warm, soldiers added a dedicated insulation layer beneath them. Sometimes it was a folded blanket, sometimes a spare jacket, sometimes straw, pine boughs, cardboard, or even empty ammunition packaging. Military training manuals quietly emphasize this. German, Soviet, British, and American forces all taught variations of the same principle. Insulate below first, then wrap above. Heat loss to the ground was the enemy, not cold air. Modern sleeping bags, with their sleek designs and temperature ratings, often give a false sense of security. But the physics hasn't changed. Compression still kills warmth. Ground still steals heat. And soldiers figured that out long before synthetic pads became popular. Another surprise for modern viewers is that World War II sleeping bags were rarely zipped tight the way we use them today. Soldiers often slept with the bag partially open, layered with clothing, blankets, or shelter halves. This wasn't sloppy discipline. It was temperature regulation. Sweating at night in cold conditions was dangerous. Damp clothing meant rapid heat loss later. Soldiers learned to sleep slightly cool, not overly warm. The goal wasn't comfort, it was consistency. Staying dry mattered more than feeling cozy. So, many soldiers actually wore their daytime clothing inside the bag, but, in a controlled way. They would loosen their belts, take out any hard items, and fluff up their garments to increase the amount of trapped air. Clothing in this case became adjustable insulation, not just something worn out of habit. World War II soldiers frequently used improvised sleeping bag liners. These weren't luxury accessories, not at all. They were thin cotton sheets, silk inserts, or even spare uniform pieces sewn or pinned together. The liner had one purpose: protect the insulation from moisture and body oils, while adding a small but crucial thermal buffer. This allowed soldiers to dry or air out the liner separately while keeping the main bag functional. In freezing conditions, drying a sleeping bag was nearly impossible. Modern campers often ignore liners or treat them as optional comfort items, but soldiers saw them as system critical. This wasn't about luxury, it was about survival efficiency. Today's camping culture often markets sleeping bags as standalone solutions. Temperature ratings are advertised like guarantees. Pads are optional. Liners are extras. Clothing systems are an afterthought. World War II soldiers didn't have that luxury. They thought in systems. Every piece had a role. Nothing worked alone. The trick wasn't a secret zipper hack or hidden pocket. It was a mindset. Insulate below. Regulate above. Control moisture. Adapt to conditions instead of fighting them. Modern gear is better, lighter, and more efficient, but only if used correctly. Ignoring ground insulation, overdressing, or sealing moisture inside a bag repeats the same mistakes soldiers already solved 80 years ago. If there's one lesson modern campers should steal from World War II, it's this. Your sleeping bag is not your warmth. Your entire setup is. Soldiers learned this under pressure, in real conditions, with real consequences. Their survival depended on small adjustments that added up to big results. And that's why this trick still matters. World War II survival wasn't about heroics every night. It was about routines, habits, and practical wisdom passed quietly from veteran to recruit. Sleeping smarter meant fighting better. Rest was a weapon. Modern campers don't need to sleep in trenches to benefit from that knowledge. They just need to stop treating sleeping bags as magic objects and start using them like systems, exactly the way soldiers did. Because history doesn't become obsolete, it becomes ignored. And on this channel, we don't ignore it. If this story changed how you think about survival gear, hit like, subscribe, and share this with someone who camps but still wakes up cold. Legacy of Survival is about uncovering the forgotten wisdom that still works today, and the next lesson might be the one you didn't even know you were missing.